I can't log into Bethesdanet. I mean, I can log into the website, Bethesdanet, but then the game's all like, authentication error, using the same username and password that logged me into the website, of course. Good work. And to think I kind of wanted to do a positive video this week. Maybe review the things I liked about Elder Scrolls Online. Oh well, that can wait. Let the negative times roll on. Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Skyrim Special Edition. Yes, indeed. While I do live streams, people tend to flood in and they ask me about things. One of the things I've been asked about multiple times is a mod limit being placed on the Skyrim Special Edition. Now, some people will say it's been reduced to 100 mods, other people will say it's been reduced to 150 mods, and the reality is that only affects console users. Yes, indeed, for those of you who are new to my channel, I am a cold, cynical son of a bitch, and I only play Skyrim on the PC. So, here's the inherent problem with Bethedanet. It's shit. Now hold on a second, because we're gonna roll back a bit before the Special Edition was released. Back when modding, you did it on the Steam Workshop. Except you didn't. That was a shitty place to do mods as well. Pretty much all the good mods, and not so good mods, were hosted on external websites such as the Nexus. Go to nexusmods.com and check out the Skyrim Special Edition. You will find a much wider array of mods than you will on the Steam Workshop. And of course, the newer Bethedanet. Now those of you who are playing on the PlayStation and talk about your 100 mod limit, that was decided by Sony. Those of you who are on the Xbox and talk about your 150 mod limit, that was decided by Microsoft. You see, apparently Bethesda consulted with both of them as to a number for it, because Sony and Microsoft are the people who hear the complaints over and over and over when a game doesn't perform properly. And that's the problem with this wide world of modding, is that in a closed system, a sealed environment of the console, it's expected that these games are to perform to very specific conditions. It's why they optimize the crap out of a console game. And by introducing mods into the sequence, you defeat the purpose of a console being a console. You've taken this sealed environment where the developers have painstakingly optimized this thing. Not always so in the case of some games that run in suboptimal frame rates. Yeah, you should really get on that, developers. But my point is that consoles are a suboptimal platform. Because in the case of the Scorpio or the PS Pro, you have to buy whole new consoles in order to get an upgrade. And half of the time, because the games are so painstakingly optimized for the lowest of the two, you don't get the optimal experience that the PS Pro or the Xbox Scorpio could deliver. I'm speaking in hypothetical terms because I don't own either console. I have a Nintendo Entertainment System, a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, a Sega Dreamcast, and so many other older consoles leading up to the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 had the best ratio of good games to get bad games of any platform. I believe that personally. By the PlayStation 3's time, I was deep into PC gaming, had already built my own PC, and I also had a life outside of gaming at that point as well. Now, by the time Skyrim rolled around, we had already a robust modding community for Oblivion, the previous game on the PC. So many of these people just came on over from the previous game. Like Arthmore, for instance, who made his alternate beginnings mod for Oblivion, where you could start and the Emperor was still alive, you could go to his throne room, say hi to Uriel Septim, because the Oblivion Crisis hadn't started yet. You could do that. Well, he just came along to Skyrim and made his alternate start living their life. But while mods were being made for Skyrim, external programs were being made for Skyrim as well, such as the Skyrim Script Extender, which is the predecessor to two previous script extenders, one for Morrowind and one for Oblivion. Because the base game of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim only had so much in terms of a modding framework, and modders wanted to do more than what Bethesda had allotted in their sandbox. And so they came to what is essentially hacking the game. And now the modding community as a whole expects the ability to hack the game as normal modding. This is something that Bethesda does not support and has never supported. And that's why when we have officially sanctioned frameworks such as the Steam Workshop and now Bethedanet, neither of them support these script extenders or external programs. Did you know that when you use the normal creation kit and you delete stuff or edit things, you can actually create dirty edits and deleted references and things like that, things that are actually really, really bad in your plugin because of the way the creation kit works? And did you know that Bethesda actually had those things in their game as well? Not the base game, but update.esm, all of the DLCs, all of them contain these deleted references that need to be fixed. And an external program can fix them. But if they're not fixed, and someone creates a mod that edits those vanilla assets, they can actually break the game catastrophically for anyone who uses that mod. It can lead to instability, crashes, all kinds of things. And that's what TES5 Edit, an external program, is for. The script extender. All the mods that rely on the script extender. TES5 Edit. New animation tools such as Finis. All of these things do not work in a closed system. And that's what consoles are. They're closed systems. They do not allow you to modify the game to its potential. They allow you to use the sandbox tools, the little plastic shovel that Bethesda gave you, when a real programmer is going to want to step outside the box. I'm speaking from experience here because I was active in the modding scenes of Doom, Quake, Quake 2, and Half-Life. It wouldn't be very uncommon for me to go into the source code that id Software, not the new id Software, the old id Software made available for Quake, and we would be able to access that source code and create our own progs.dat file. This changed the behavior of the game, so we could create our own custom capture the flag mode or do anything like that in the Quake engine. I made my own mods for Quake, and I didn't release them on the internet or anything. I just preloaded them onto, say, 12 PCs, and a bunch of friends and I hopped together and played the games, usually at a local LAN center. You know, one of those places that you rent the computers per hour. Well, we'd all play the same mod together, one that I made. And that was a lot of fun. So I understand the basic concepts of mods, and that concept is what still drives the modding community today. Mods are made as a hobby, and they're made from someone's own interests. As a result, most mods don't actually get distributed, but there's some pretty amazing ones that do. The thing is that the majority of mods haven't made their way to the Special Edition yet. Bethedanet isn't without its problems, and some pretty major ones too. I'm going to have a link to a video and a pinned comment below this video that you can check out, where I talk about problems in the modding community. It's a big, ugly rant. I know some of you like my rants. But remember, I'm a cold, cynical son of a bitch, so when Bethedanet was initially announced, I thought, oh, they're going to relaunch paid mods. Great. They didn't. Not yet. And I'm hoping they still don't. Not because I think paid mods are a bad thing. I think that a properly curated system could lead to mod makers actually making a job of making mods, to the point where these would be official DLCs. For anyone who's like, well, they could never do that. id Software did it. Go check out the Scourge of Armageddon and the Desolation of Eternity expansion packs for Quake. These third-party studios made some pretty fun level packs that I paid for. officially sanctioned third-party content that you pay for. It was good back in the day, but it was curated. It wasn't the shit that they just slopped all over the Steam Workshop when they announced their paid mod system. That was garbage. It's indicative of what to expect from Zeniamx in the future. And I'm mentioning Zeniamx for a good reason. When you send a DMCA copyright claim, that's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, that forces Bethedanet to take down a mod that has been stolen. And keep in mind that sending a false DMCA is tantamount to perjury under the law and can get you in some serious legal trouble. You have to send that notice to Zeniamx Media. This is important because Bethesda Softworks, the publisher, Bethesda Game Studios, the developer, these are two separate entities. Neither of them apparently are responsible for Bethedanet. It's the parent company, Zeniamx Media. My sincere fear in the future is that they're going to bring back the paid mod system in the next major installment of the series. But they're going to do it in some pretty unorthodox ways. At least, this is my prediction. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but I'm going to predict anyway. Because I was wrong about Fallout 4 and them selling mods on Fallout 4. I still think they wanted to sell them, but after they saw the backlash that happened, they decided to hold off for a generation or two. When I say a generation or two, I mean of games, so, 5-10 years later. I think that the next Bethesda game is going to be designed in a way where the modding is in a closed-in system, where the Nexus isn't even going to be a possibility. I think that the creation kit is going to be snap-mapped. For those of you who don't know, the new Doom released with a in-game editor known as Snapmap. The grand announcement was that their dedication to the modding community. This is going to be fan-created content. They more or less tricked people into thinking this was going to be some kind of in-depth modding system. But it is extremely limited, and we found out why it was extremely limited too. Consoles. In order to make all the versions uniform, the same limitations that would bog down a console are the ones that are placed on the PC. And we just got to scratch our heads at that, thinking back to when we were able to compile our own progs.dat file, when we were able to compile our own DoomEd levels. DoomEd was an officially created editor program which existed separate from the game and allowed us to make our own Doom maps. I made tons of them. I made a Doom map that was representative of one of my friend's houses. So it was cool, we were killing demons in my friend's house. But I'm mentioning this because Snapmap is nothing like what they led the community to believe. And I feel that this might be the direction Zeniamx pushes its subsidiary companies, Bethesda Softworks, the publisher, and Bethesda Game Studios, the creators, to make, is a closed-in system where the creation kit is part of the game, where the plugin files are generated by the game and used by the game in a way that denies access to third parties, like the Nexus. Now, when the next Elder Scrolls game comes out, and it doesn't have what I'm predicting here, you can point and say you were wrong, and I will smile happily, because I want to be wrong. I don't want modding to become a homogenized piece of crap. It's like the difference between an Apple and an Android. Apple products are things that are simple, and they're for simple people. And when I say simple people, I mean they're either stupid or they can't be bothered to give a damn. Whereas an Android product tends to be open, and you can fuck up an Android product 5 ways from Sunday. You can ruin one very easily with viruses and just overloading it with programs. You can go into the actual file system and delete it, and the phone won't start anymore, you bricked it. But those are all freedoms that you are able to do because the customizability is so great. The ability to mix and match mods is so great outside of Bethesdanet. The ability to use third-party programs in conjunction with mods to make things that are utterly impossible under the standard sandbox they gave you. It's something consoles can't do. I really wish every console came with a pro mode that allowed you to go into the operating system and do whatever the fuck you wanted. But then that would mean you could pirate their DLCs, and being able to turn a console into effectively a PC when it already is a lockdown version of one is too much to ask for Microsoft and Sony, the very people who put the mod limit numbers in place. It's very clear console users want mods. It's been extremely successful in the backlash against Sony's decision to only allow mods without custom content in it. That is, custom models and sounds and everything, only using vanilla assets. The dumbed down mods, as it were. The backlash was huge, and they blamed Bethesda because people don't know who to blame for things. They don't understand that when Elder Scrolls 6 isn't announced, people flip their shit like, why are they wasting their time on a Skyrim Special Edition? Bethesda Game Studios, the people responsible for bringing you Elder Scrolls 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, those people didn't work on the Special Edition. They did something which was contrary to their original business philosophy, and they actually spun off their studio. There's a second studio in Montreal which made the Special Edition. All your gripes with the Special Edition have nothing to do with the original people who made Skyrim. But because we've got Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda Montreal, and a publisher called Bethesda Softworks, the same people who brought you Brink and Rage, these games that people hurl insults like, Bethesda sucks, they made this horrible game. They didn't, they published it. But when people hear me talking bad things about ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, which, keep in mind, Elder Scrolls Online's actually a pretty good game right now. It's just they hear me talking about the way it was in the past, and they flip their shit. People flip their shit and say that Zeniamx Online Studios was working closely with Bethesda. Which Bethesda were they working closely with? Let's be honest here. I think they got thrown a ton of design documents. I think they were working closely with their publisher, Bethesda Softworks. My point is that people don't understand the division between these companies, between Zeniamx Media, Zeniamx Online Studios, Bethesda Softworks, and Bethesda Game Studios. They're all different. They may work together and they may have a chain of ownership, but they're all responsible for different things. And it looks like Bethedanet is Zeniamx Media pulling the strings. I say this because people need to take a moment and look at the future of modding, of games. Worst case scenario, we're gonna have another closed-in system. In a pinned comment under the video, I'll also have a link to my What's in a Main Quest video. I recommend watching that because I talk about the soul, the heart and soul of a Bethesda open world game, and how it hasn't changed. My sincerest hope is that it doesn't change, but I also hope that modding tools get better, not worse. And if the Doom franchise has been any predictor, it's gonna get much, much worse. And I hope it doesn't. But back to the original topic to which this video was about. The mod limits. If you're on PC, don't use Bethedanet. If you're on console, God have mercy on your soul. Because it's a suboptimal way of playing the game. And when the script extender and all the other programs make it over from the original edition to the special edition, the comparisons will be self-evident. Thank you all for watching. What are your biggest experiences with Bethedanet? Leave them in a comment below. Tell me what you think they could do to make the service better. Or do you think that they should just abolish the service entirely and just rely on the Nexus and things like that from now on? And the most important question is, do you think they're going to try paid modding again? Sometime in the future, say 5 or 6 years when people have forgotten. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Give me feedback. Come on, come on, come on. And while you're at it, thumbs up or thumbs down on the video. Click the links on screen for more content, and I will see y'all next time.